Welcome to Otherworld Stories! This is a panel where we sit... I've got all these microphones, that's my fault. This is a panel where we sit here and tell you about our weird adventures in otherworld places. Guys, I'd like to thank some of my panelists. Guys, you know him as Dr. Bitches. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Bitches. Nickname known as Darius, or Doris on a bad day. On a bad day. Guys, our next, I do not know what he put on his badge, but I'm sure it is insulting. Guys, I'd like to introduce you to the block captain. It's easier to say. I don't care. Yeah. For Nero Grand Rapids, guys, let's give it up for Cullinan! Welcome the bartender for the weekend. And of course, guys, what would be... Wow. Thank you. Now I head can breathe. Guys, it wouldn't be complete without everybody's favorite fox. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dusty and the Tail Waggers! Guys, this is an in-game hero group, the Tail Waggers. They are a force to be reckoned with unless they haven't had their coffee yet. Then they're worse. Then they're significantly worse. Oh my God, you guys brought the banner?
No, they didn't.
That's awesome.
They have to
The cone is down now.
The cone is down. Somebody has to put it up.
Thank you very much for being here, Tail Waggers. It means the world to be here. Alright guys, some of our newer members of the panel, I'd like to introduce you to Vado! And guys, an old-time player, we have a history, Sai!
Ruining the magic.
Dude, we have 4 the magic!
I'm not going to ruin the magic.
Oh my God. That was okay. That was awesome. Guys, what we do here is we used to tell, it's like the whole first idea of this is, oh, we're going to tell cool stories. People like, that was cool. And then they turned into funny stories, and then more people started showing up to the panel. So, these are terrible things that have happened to us during war. Guys, who would like to go first with one of our old classic hero stories? Hopefully something that they haven't heard before. This panel's been going on now for 2 years. Guys, thank you for being a part of this. This is a huge part of most of our lives. So we like to share it with you guys. And I've noticed that these friends found a bunch of old photos. And I have been reminiscing of all day.
How long have you been playing for us?
I've been playing for 32 years. No, I'm not.
32 years.
No.
Created artists before.
Created LARPing?
You know, like first one.
Half-Life. You were there when I started?
You're 15 and I think I'm at 19. I think I'm at 19 years of this insanity.
Just round up and say 30.
So, Dr. Bitches, how long have you been doing this?
22 years.
22 years. I believe that gives you the right to tell the first story.
Oh, goody. Thank you so much. All right, so this is actually a story that happened at the beginning of an event.
Mike, a little closer.
Mike is closer.
There you go.
Yeah. So this happened at the beginning of an event. It was a pretty fun time. We had this place that we like to call Narnia. It was called Medea. Anyways, we were there, and it was myself, my wife, and then Alkali and his crew of misfits that we call the Silverleaves. So there they are, we're all in the building together.
That's not what we call them, that's what they call themselves.
No! You were Silverleaves.
Anyways, he has his group of Silverleaves, so we're in the cabin, and we're, if you don't know Alkali, he is a little bit animated sometimes. Right? So we're giving him a little bit of a hard time. John was there, I believe. And we're really riling him up, and we gave him a really hard time for eating all the freaking cookies on the first night.
They were delicious!
Before the So he was. He looked just like that. Riled up. And he is so mad, he just stops right out the front door. And he's just yelling and yelling and yelling and yelling. And we're sitting inside. We're like, is he gonna come back inside? Like, what's going on? Like, he's really mad for no reason. And we're like, well, maybe we should go out and look after him. You know, it's been like 5 minutes. We go outside. He had rolled his ankle, walking out the door, writhing on the ground. Run, you guys! Fuck you! We gotta be out here for 5 minutes, yelling!
No one! There were 80 people at the campsite. They're like, that's just Dan yelling at shit.
In Dr. Bitch's defense, though, usually people worry about Alkali when he doesn't make a lot of noise and
It's
swear
when
for
he
no
gets
reason.
quiet that people start to worry.
That's when I became a McNugget. You guys suck. I got McNuggeted at the gate. They took away my arms and legs and then silenced me. And so I had to sit there. And somebody walks past like, what do I see? And I said, Chicken McNugget! Properly, I just had my arms and legs touched.
Chicken McNugget.
If I remember correctly, too, when you finally found me out there, someone in your family worked at a hospital, so you would make spell packets out of the sheets they used to cover cadavers?
No. My mother worked at a funeral home.
Oh, okay.
So much better.
Out of
When you
cadavers.
pick the body up off the gurney, that sheet comes with it, and that's what we make spell packets from.
So much better.
So I love that.
Only
He goes back inside, grabs the sheet, he goes, this is appropriate, and just covers me up with it. Hey, corpse sheet. Awesome. Love you too, Dr. Bitches. Oh, let's go to the other side of the table. We got a new person here, Bada, which is a horse scavenger that has a ritual backlash.
Oh, shot fire.
I thought it was a jackass.
Not wrong.
That's my title. It's different.
It is not mine.
Okay, so there's two different games that I play. Zero and Alliance. They're very, very similar. And Alliance was having a 3-day event, which is a bit longer than normal because it's Memorial Day. And so me and a couple people go, we decided to NPC for it, which is like play monsters and whatnot. And so we're getting down to the end of the event, and it's like Sunday night, and all the PCs, all the players are just like really, really salty because you kind of like taking the crap out of them. And like they've had multiple resurrections, like die. And they've lost a number of items. So we're like, we do some comic relief. And me and like 6 people just kind of like, we put on green face paint, green tabard, decided to like, some goblins, and we're like the worst goblins ever. And so we had like, I had like a butter knife for a prop, and like, someone else had like a little tiny crossbow that was about this big. So we're walking into town, and we're like talking as loud as we can about like, yeah, we're gonna go in, we're gonna be super sneaky, we're gonna like steal everything. We're just like shouting this out of our lungs. And so I get up to the door, and I decide to pull. It's a common trick in Nero, but this is Alliance, so nobody's ever seen this before. I got a leaf off a tree, and I hold it in front of my face. And I open up the door, and there's a ring of about 10 people. It's like the highest level people in town are just like braced for impact. And I'm looking at them, and I'm just like, I'm a tree. And they're like, excuse me? And so I start shuffling forward, I'm like, I'm a tree. And they like start getting out of the way. And so like one of them leans up and is like, hey, out of game, like physical description, what's going on here? And I was like, oh, I'm a goblin with a leaf covered. And they're like, oh, and they just beat me down. So it's and like there's no laughs, no nothing. They're just like so pissy that like all of this goes completely over their head. Like they don't know what's going on. And at this point, like one of the other goblins just like rolls into the room and does this amazing combat roll like they're a freaking gymnast. And like puts themselves up against the wall like this and starts shuffling along and like coming to the Mission Impossible thing. And they're just looking at it like, what is this? This is not worth our time. What's going on? And they keep them down. And I'm sitting there out of game just laughing. And, now it's at this point that someone walks into the room with it's like a Wile E. Coyote style bomb. And holds it up and goes, nobody move! I got a bomb! And everybody stops dead. Because what we didn't realize was this same rep had been used earlier in the day for something called a Turnian bomb. It's a 50-foot radius shattered spirit, which basically means, no life spells, no healing, go visit the resurrection circle, you might not be coming back from this.
Good luck.
And so everyone just stops. And like the ranking noble in the room is just like, hey, okay, nobody move. Do what he wants. And he's like, you could just see like the person playing the goblin go, oh god, what just happened? But then he's like, no, let's go with this. So he's like, give me a gold piece. And someone's like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, bring me the water. Yeah, you okay? Give me that food. Dude, just like that he's currently eating. He's like, absolutely, it's yours. Finally, someone walks up and is like, hey, out of game, like, is that like recognizably a turning in bond? It's like, no, it's just a piece of crap a cowboy puts together. Oh! And then he
That is awesome. That is awesome. Colin, do you have a story for the audience?
No.
Okay.
So the story that I'm about to tell actually starred this one. A lot of the time, as far as LARPing is concerned, you see some very specific things repeated. Most recently, probably last season, we went on a very interesting adventure. And the plot people, the people that run the event, basically did something very unique, and it has stuck in my mind very specifically for that reason. A lot of the time when you fight NPCs or monsters, you fight them front to front, like in a battle, a line battle. But this plot team actually specifically flipped the script. They made it so that our group was coming up behind a contingency of soldiers. And we decided, or they told us, they were like, okay, so you're going to infiltrate, you're going to come behind a front line, and you've got several contingencies of soldiers to go through. Well, this one specifically has something as far as glowing white eyes, and it's the middle of, I would say, 2 a.m. in the morning. Really hard to sneak when you have glowing white eyes. So, this one and another one of our friends are rogues, so they do a lot of damage from behind. So they were our go-to. So they would sneak up behind these NPCs that were facing the opposite direction, and this one specifically was running backwards for every wave.
I had for the glowing, and it wasn't like just makeup or something. I had 2 little LEDs mounted basically on my face. So when I had glowing eyes, like in the woods, there was just 2 little beams of light just walking around.
The worst part is he was still faster than me running backwards. So there wasn't no, God knows, he's lapping me.
Absolutely.
I'll get to the battle later.
Absolutely. He made it look seamlessly easy,
Yes.
which...
Alkali, do you do a lot of damage from behind?
So he comes out, so they were running up against, and then the other person that was a rogue with him would tap him, and that actually gave us the signal for the rest of us to move forward. Because all we would see is 2 beams of light go like this. And we decimated them. Wave after wave after wave. And he said his calves hurt so bad the next day.
I ran about 2 miles backwards.
Yep.
Dustin, you may have run backwards, but what's the Nero story you would like to share?
I mean, I guess we could do something that this gentleman did to me.
To me.
Every chapter, every game that you play will always have its own flair, have its own story, its own mix. As I have said many times, I play a were-fox, a were-creature, a werewolf. Depending what area you play, even though it follows the same rules, there's going to be different ways that these creatures are treated. So sometimes were-creatures are treated like werewolves of London, or just straight-up enemies, monsters, whatever. Where there are also then were-creatures that could also be noble creatures that fight undead or fight certain specific monsters. I was at the time on the path to do this. However, Cullen has the best idea to, I'm going to run this plot, it's going to be very interesting, give me a bunch of trials to earn the right to be a were-creature.
Oh, no.
So, okay, I'm down for a challenge. Let's do this.
That was a challenge.
Alki was there, and you were actually one of the evil were-creatures on that one.
Okay.
So he has me in the middle of this large field, and he has 6 of my pack, which is much like with furries, you generally have a small group of people who are your people. No matter
Your
what
inner
happens
sanctum.
in the world, that is your inner sanctum, that is your people after the convention. During regular life, these are your people that. So I had my pack with me. He put them on opposite ends of this big field, and me in the center. He then had, slowly, one at a time, each of these pack members appear with two monsters right next to them. My job was to come and defend each of my pack mates. Well, I'm zigzagging across this field that's covered in mud. I'm tripping and falling. I am head to toe soaked in mud.
Football-sized field, by the way, and they are as far across as end zones out. I mean, this is how far it is. Running full tilt.
All right, so
nonstop.
speaking as the guy who ran this, we had 6 people that all had a number, and then I had a 7th person tell me numbers of what order they would all pop in, or what order they would all get attacked in. It could not have gone in a harder order
No, it could not have.
than it happened. Like, it was all up to chance that it literally could have gone 1 through 6 in a circle, and it literally went as far away from each other as it possibly could every time. That'd be 5, not 6.
I lost it. I actually really enjoyed it because all I got to do, I was one of the last ones to pop, so I got to watch it. And he starts in the middle, and the first thing happens, and he still had energy. Same what happens, you just watch this red fox. It's just this big floofy red tail and a bunch of weapons, and the other person that he just defended who can now play, like trailing behind, gets halfway there. Go on without me! Yes, it was! And he gets over to the third person. He starts running back by the fourth person. Like,
I think at one point to get past him, I just like dove.
Oh,
and
you did?
shoulder- Like this is like Dark Souls. Just like shoulder roll, walk past, scoot by. We get all 6.
You also slid past me and like slayed me in the gut.
Well,
You like knee slid under my weapon.
You're over 6 feet tall.
What?
I am barely 5.
Okay, you might not have been sliding it, but it was still beautiful.
We get down to this. I get all of my pack mates. Then we have this big final standoff in the center. So it is a big, hey, they're all attacking, we're all defending, standard fight, and we're done. And I pass the trial, and we do well, and then the adrenaline stops. And the nausea starts to kick in. Then it's just stripping off clothes and I'm overheating, and then no more lunch. Drink water.
He doesn't
Lots of water.
He really doesn't look good. Somebody get him pizza bread.
It's hard to drink the water that you doused over your head.
Yeah.
It was by far one of my favorite and most memorable modules. Everything was fantastic and well written and even well statted, which is very, very tricky when you have high level players. Like, do you send these monsters? Oh, they just got murdered. Do you send these monsters? The party just wipes. Like it's anybody who's DM'd knows that very, very delicate balance. It's a perfect module, and then just me dead at the end. I just lay in a bunk and have a little fan on me. I'm good. Just go on without me. I'm done.
All right, so I could tell a story about the blue one, the red one, or this one. So this
Always
one?
this one.
Always
This
on.
one? Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a bad
says
story.
you're going to be telling stories about him in the panel.
So my character Cullinan and a character Alkali goes as by Mendeley. No, this was Caldra. Yeah, this was Caldra.
I don't know the story
Where
yet.
was it?
It was the first time my character died in game,
Hell,
and the first time Caldra died in game. It's not about how we died; it's what happens after this. So
there we were.
there we were, naked in some random dude's house.
Yes.
You know, that's the story. So, Kaldrak dies in a way where he remembers everything that happened before I died, and I died in a way that I remembered everything after. So between the two of us, we knew exactly which other PCs stood over our rotting corpses going, fuck that guy, I don't like his haircut. Fuck that guy, he yells at me, I don't like him. And then they left. Oh, sorry, I apologize.
I did.
So we both resurrect in this random...
Janice Falls. Tennis balls.
in a place called Old Hedron, and when you resurrect, you resurrect without any of your gear. So here we are, a giant angry barbarian yelling, and a giant yellow skinned orc yelling. And ogre, sorry. And this guy's just standing there like, what can we do? So we take everything we could find in his house, which was a potato masher and a frying pan, at which point we had to run our way back to town, technically in game stark naked with one of us had a potato masher, one of us had a frying pan, through about 10 waves of skeletons. And all it was us swearing at the top of our lungs, using all of our big skills that we could, at which point we just ran into town and just started yelling at everyone in town.
You actually yelled at one point, I need to do a wheel! So I threw my potato masher at a skeleton and just ran at one of the other ones, screaming my head off, and he didn't know what to do. This guy runs forward, picks up the potato masher, and goes after the one skeleton with like character skills, and I'm just screaming at random people, trying to make them laugh so we don't die. And then at one point I go, I got one weapon left and you don't want me to use it. And thank God it worked, because that skeleton started laughing hard enough that I got to go around him and get to the exit. I look back I'm like, you can die. I made it.
Do we have... Because the second time my character died was from Red.
Oh God.
We were on a covert mission to steal a lich's crown. And at the time, he was immune to death. And so we were partnered up. And so I'm a new player at this time, and he's in front of me, and because the lich is throwing death spells. So he's taking them all, and all of a sudden he forgets he's immune to death and starts dodging all of the death spells. And this is no, actually it might have gone the other way. This might have been my first, because I didn't die that time. I almost did. So he
died a lot.
Oh, he dodged out of the way, and I'm standing there. This is my first event, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. Boom, boom, boom. 3 death spells. And I drop, and I'm like, oh, well, why did the guy who's allergic to death dodge? Immune. I was the allergic.
You were very
This looked like the scene from Platoon. Where
literally.
Shattered.
So I'm laying there in the darkness under a tree, counting my death count, and I get to like 10 seconds left, and I hear what sounded like a mile away, Red go, hey, where'd my partner go? And I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm going to die. And then out of nowhere, of course, a little rocket comes up and hits me with a light in the back of the head.
We had, years ago, I got to run a full plot line for almost everyone at this table, the Gatheridin and,
As groaning.
oh yes. See, sometimes you have to come up with the weird challenges. So most of the time, especially when we write, fights have already happened. We've all done every fight imaginable. So you try to do something creative. You try to change the scenario a bit. Well, this time they were expecting it, so we said, okay, how do we make this fight just impossible? And Tim says, well, why don't we let Gatheridin absorb the imprison spell and let it renew him and not tell anyone? Like, that's brutal.
And for any of you who don't know Nero or LARPing it out, imprison is usually that spell that everyone just throws to get rid of an enemy.
Yes. It finishes the enemy. He's trapped. You can kill him at your leisure. It is a takedown spell. It's the best takedown spell in the game. So everyone is going to use this spell. So the battle begins, and here comes Gatheridin.
We like to call that the imprison circle.
Yeah, the prison circle, yes. Gatheridin is standing back there, and what immediately happens, he gets hit in the face by a Nerf football. The old weapon master from Nero, Chicago had showed up just for this event, because they had put a call out that they're going to fight the big boss. He used to be the guy to check weapons for safety. And what did he do? He went to the store, bought 10 Nerf footballs, put like a piece of duct tape on it, and was just winging them at us.
To his
I'll allow it.
defense, they flew really well.
They did. That was his excuse.
Laces out!
Got lots of distance.
It was the middle of the night. It is pitch black out. Like, Tim comes out, blah, 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 monologue, and battle begins. Bam! Oh, hold! What was that? Mike goes, football!
That's why we don't let the
And
bad guy
normal.
monologue.
He goes, you can't throw footballs! I safety checked it. No, you didn't! Also, how can it be in the face? He goes, I can't see you. I'm going for your voice.
That's a big target.
Yeah, it was. Tim is as loud as I am. He's upstairs. So the battle goes on, and this creature goes, biggest spell in the game, massive death spell, all these crazy spells, medium level spells, weapons, summoning monsters, and they finally think that he took a spell. They're like, he didn't call a defense. 10 imprisons in him. He goes, got it! 1 absorb, 2 absorb, 3 absorb, arcane renew. Biggest spell in the game! Biggest spell in the game! And now people are panicking. And all that's going around, it took 3 tries before I was just marshalling. I wasn't even playing the bad guy because there was so much going on. So I launched them. Imprison! Arcane renew! Ah! Imprison! Arcane renew! Ah! Imprison!
Stop imprisoning him!
They are screaming. They are screaming at the top of their lungs. Don't use imprisons! Don't use imprisons! And as they're yelling
And
that,
all people hear is, in prison? What, in prison? Okay, in prison!
yes! And finally, there was a moment of silence as the battle is dying down. All the NPCs are dead except for Gatharidon. They have him in a circle. And this guy over here yells, do not imprison him! And our friend goes, imprison! And throws me in prison. I watch him. One of my favorite moments, he goes, ha! And then ducks down into the fetal position as every spell goes flying over his head. He stands up and goes, imprison, to the guy who just imprisoned him. One of my all-time favorite battles with you guys. You guys were awesome. I think it's
So
that
much
much
time alive on the ground. You're not supposed to be live, but that time was in prison. It's like, fuck, just fall on the ground. Terrible.
I love the imprison story. The look on your face right before you went fetal was my Why? Okay, who's got another one? Imprison.
Oh, I got a quick one. Alright. Maybe you heard this one before. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyways, this one requires, like, Dustin and Dan to stand up, it gives you a good height comparison for this story. So here we are. We traveled, we traveled a little south.
Justin's on a chair right now.
Uppies.
So here we are, we traveled to this new land, we were like, okay, different people. This guy comes in, and he's about Dustin's height, totally bald. Comes in, and he's like, I will give 10 gold to anyone that'll eat this whipped cream off my head. And I was like, one moment, sir. I quickly run across, find Dan, who is Lord Dude.
Lord Dude. Nice to meet you.
Dude.
Yes.
We're making 10 gold.
Oh, I'm in. What do I have to do?
Eat that whipped cream off that guy's head.
Without thinking. Damnation.
How old was shaving cream?
And sweating.
Yeah. And then looks him straight in the eyes and says,
I don't actually remember. I think I was angry.
I think it was like still dripping out of your mouth.
I'm a noble. I'm a noble line, and you're right. I did say that there. I reprised that from when you guys made me a noble. I've been playing Euro Chicago for probably 7 or 8 years. And basically, there was a lot of players that they wanted to bring up in the hierarchy of the world. So they were making a few of us nobles. But Euro Chicago had a really cool way of doing it, so you actually had to work at it. You didn't have to go kill a monster. Nobles need to protect people, but they had to be nobility. So they sent me an etiquette trainer. And our friend, who's in Dealer's Den right now, working with the con store, he came in as my etiquette trainer during dinner. Well, I hadn't eaten since the day before. So I had a big old plate of mashed potatoes. And I walked outside as Javelin tells me, Keldrock, somebody's here to see you. And I walk outside to see Steve standing there in all of this fine robes that we had laying around on BC camp. Go, nice to meet you! Grabbed a handful of potatoes, smashed them into my mouth, and then made him shake my hand. As I yelled at him, I'm in training to be a noble, and actually spit potatoes on his face on accident. On accident, and without missing a beat, he looks at me and goes, greetings, I am your etiquette trainer. And I... oh my God. I had no idea. What am I? I will always love Steve for that one. I'm your etiquette trainer. Trouble.
So I have a question for Alkali, if he remembers this.
Probably not.
Do you remember Port Lanton Forest?
Is that my mace voice?
Yeah.
I was present, as well as Culloden and Eileen, for when it decided to explode. So, no, after it exploded. So, my other character that I play is pretty much the goodiest gooded two-shoes ever.
I'm going to interject here. Who went to Midwest Fur Fest and heard some of these stories just last year for the Midwest Fur Fest? Okay. I told a story about a tree hitting a mother effer with another mother effer. Okay, this is the character that played said tree.
So, yes, absolutely. So, I played a very good character, and myself, opposite of this character. So myself, my friend Culloden here, and my other travel mate Eileen went into this maze forest. And the trick of the maze forest is it reset every day. You could only go in and you could only get as far as you could.
I saw this movie. It's got a name for us, right?
Maybe, I don't know. So unfortunately, it was during an event that the chapter was actually closing. So Dan was running, or Alkali was running the forest and decided to explode it. So we were in it, we got as far as we were going to go, and Alkali gave us the description of, so the forest explodes, you're in it, so you're going to be the opposite of yourselves, go attack the town. So we became basically chaos chucking, kill them all monsters.
There's so much fun.
So
I gave him bonus stats as the difference.
I have never had, I have gleefully, evilly laughed coming from the forest, and I've made PCs that were significantly larger of a character level as mine run. Because I just tainted and deathed everything. And it was one of the most memorable adventures that I've been on. And one of my most memorable adventures ran by Alkali.
I miss running that stuff. I honestly do miss running some of those games.
She said it was memorable that day.
Oh, my bad.
That's a very key distinction. Not everything memorable is obviously.
Alkali, tell us about the kale. No! That's a different panel. And maybe not this convention. I'm going to keep claiming that the kale thing is from a different convention. It's MFF's problem now.
Every time at the Dale convention. Alright, so now I'll tell my story about Blue.
I don't even know which one this is going to be.
Well, it's about Dusty.
Oh.
The tree and
Yeah. So, my character was doing a quest for questing, whatever.
Oh, shit.
And was that specific enough? I mayhaps been eaten by a shark. I mayhaps have died and resurrected. So the way it usually works in a lot of LARPs is you pull from a bag of white beads. If you pull the black bead, you're permanently dead. The way I choose to play is I don't look at the bead. I let the storyteller tell me if I'm dead or whatever happened. So this one particular chapter doesn't kill you if you pull the black bead. They let you play out the weekend, because it's awkward when you die mid-weekend, mid-event. And Sunday morning, when it ends, death comes in to claim you, which is pretty cool. So literally, Dave has no idea if I'm dead or not at this point in time. Nobody does in town. So throughout the weekend, what's left of my spirit is being drained. So we all assume that I'm dead. This one has the genius idea to visit the plane of permanent death to barter for my body back, or for my spirit back.
You know what's not.
Hey, just because I knew how to get in, that's really all I needed.
I called you Peppermint Butler for a week.
I can get into the club, but I just don't know how to dance.
So her character, Dusty, is gone for like an hour. And all of a sudden, we hear some huge thing rifting into the middle of town, and everyone runs out of the tavern to see what it is. And it's a character playing death. And
A huge, large Draco Lich.
yeah, and he's yelling at the top of his lungs at the town. And at this point, like, they knew who it was, and if the entire town had to fight him, it could have gone either way. Good to see you too, sweetie. So yelling at the top of his lungs, everyone's gearing up, they're pulling out their weapons, they're getting their potions and their scrolls ready, and he just goes, "If you ever come back to my plane again, I will murder everyone you know." Or something along those lines.
I think
The
this.
exact words are "keep her off
Right.
my plate."
Throws her down in the middle of the street and just leaves. So we're pretty sure she's immortal
Yep,
because she pissed off death.
that happened.
That's a thing. I was there.
I want to tell one while he's in the room, because I know he's got stuff to do, but we're going to embarrass my good friend John.
We
with
love
a
you,
cool
John.
hero. One of my favorite, I was a badass and didn't realize it. Come on, I do need to give you these, so come on up here. You're going to stand in front of
I got something for you too, John.
break the table.
Yes, you would. So, he used to be our healer. And we
Used
were...
to be.
He used to be.
Did he get replaced?
Yes, very much so. But somebody who wanted to heal us.
What he was doing isn't considered healing.
It's called health insurance.
It's called motivation. If you get too far from me to heal you, I'm sorry.
I'm not sorry. You should.
I taught you that.
I know.
Well, we're in the middle of a field battle and it is going poorly. In fact, I'm looking around the field and almost every player at this point is dead.
Go javelin.
Yeah, he wasn't doing a great job of healing, but he was damn well trying. It was
A for effort.
A for effort. What's up?
Tough love.
Tough love, there you go. So I turn around to see Javelin, who's been separated from me, and there are at least two monsters between the two of us. I need to get near him so he can heal me and we can keep the fight going. And the ogre I'm going up against, prepare to die, 100 slay. I got nothing, I have no defenses left, got it down. And I started to fall to my right, like the mighty oak.
No, that's me.
Well, that's what I heard from across the trail, probably a little bit closer than we are right now. I heard him yell as the two ogres turned to converge on him. "I call by the earth to cure mortal wounds 40!" And I launched him sidearm attack it as I'm slow motion falling. And the back it goes around the ogre, catches the wind, I'm pretty sure, and hits me dead center in the chest. And I hit the ground and I realized, holy crap, I'm alive, as they decimate him. And I stand up and walk over to the two ogres. Now you have to remember, in-game, they're big, mighty ogres, they're here to kill us. Out-of-game, they're a bot team. And they just had a full field wipe. They think they just took out the last player. There's going to be repercussions for this. This is bad. And they never turned around. And my stealthy ass, boom, boom, boom. They thought I was going to come ask them a question or something. I walked up to them and beat the shit out of them. And finally, get over to him. I have a way to pick up the healer. I always keep one. Push me, Joe, push me, juice, push me, kill my wounds. And he goes, holy crap, were you possibly like, no, you hit me with the back end, dude. I curved the bullet. Yeah, you curved the bullet. He jumped up, we're high-fiving, and then we remembered there's still more ogres than a bunch of dead people.
So they took all their stuff and left.
He's both the greatest and the worst healer in the game. Celebrate good times, come on.
You're doing a good job.
Thank you for curving the bullet, John. That was awesome. Who's got one?
We're gonna go with hero stories. I told this once before, but it's always fun to see those moments of, I just want to call it zen, but it's those things where you get into a point of the game where the rules are just memorized, they become second nature, so you get into the game. That is a good moment. Then you have bad moments where sleep is no longer an option, and you just want to play from Friday to Saturday afternoon, no sleep. We call that a greater unslept. It's kind of like a monster story. So,
Kind of like zombies, we shamble around and hope for the best.
So Alkali is playing as a NPC at this point. He's playing some sort of ogre. What was it, like a full ogre or a full orc or something? Big nasty thing, wild race. If you've read any D&D or just Gordon movie or books or anything, find one of these nasties. Well, he's clearly outnumbered. There should be no reason why we do not win this fight, except he's driving on just pure impulse. There was a point in time that you were a little bit smaller, a little bit quicker.
A little bit.
You got old.
Thanks, buddy.
We got old, actually. But, yeah, there's some, actually, you see some, that's 20 years right there. So he gets to the point of fighting with a two-handed weapon, which, again, the secret to two-handed weapons is you close the gap and you beat him down. He's doing his best. He's fighting. He kills one of my friends. What the hell? Okay, well, there's still 3 others over there. Should be okay. He kills 2 more of my friends. Now there's 3 down, but 1 standing. This is not good. How is this happening? So I begin, again, as I do, sprint across the field to attack them from behind. Anybody, again, who knows these stories, I'm a rogue. Even Mary Mouse to say I'm certified sneaky.
Certified sneaky.
So I'm sprinting to get behind him as he murders my friend. And in a moment of just sheer brilliance, brings his sword behind him to perfectly block a backstab. I know for a fact he did not see me. I am pretty confident he did not hear me. But something lost in here went, that fucker's around here somewhere. Now, my world went from sweet treasure to oh no, as he turned with bloodshot eyes, pretty much silently mouthed to me, I've not slept. And down I went into a fine red mist.
So,
a nice paste, if you will.
so speaking of hero moments, I have to have Mutt stand up for a second. She personally provided myself with a very proud moment. As Dusty, I happen to be the leader of the group that she's part of. But this last event that we were at, I ended up basically being a monster. Actually played doppelganger of his wife. And I had several of her friends, including her sister and her charge, her protector, in a circle, basically about to resurrect. And I was calling for her. And I said, I will give you their lives for yours. She quickly made the dumb deal. And I'm pretty sure that's exactly how that went. So I grabbed her, I pushed the other people out of my circle, I grabbed her, and we riffed out. So we went from one location to the next, about probably at the end of this room's distance away. I, knowing as myself, know pretty much closely what Mutt's abilities are. I had completely forgotten about a card up her sleeve that she had. I then lifted her in. She pushes me, because again I take physical roleplay. She pushes me, rolls on the ground, and she has a monster ability to rift out herself. Gone. Dead serious, dude. And I had a conflicted moment of, I'm the monster, I just lost, but I'm her friend, yay, she's so smart. And she rifts back about 10 feet away from the group, and she's just like, where are they, where are they? And I just shook my head. I was like, I just got foiled by a dog.
Oh yeah, so I have I guess it's a hero moment.
As he grins.
So we were,
I hear the quotations around a hero.
I'm not gonna like this story.
so anyways, a lot of times when you go on adventures, it's not enough people really to play both sides, so you, what we call double hook, so one team plays the monster and another team. So we were out playing, and my team was attacking and going through our side, and then it was our turn to be the monsters for the other team, which was Dan and the Silver Leaves, which was always interesting.
They always had the numbers. That was the important part.
They
They
did.
always
They
had the
were
numbers.
They
They
had a lot
didn't
of
have the
numbers.
skills or the knowledge.
Nothing.
Speed bumps. I call them speed bumps.
So anyways, yes, this group, and we're playing the monsters, and we know that we're a lot more skilled than they are. So we're having fun with our side of it. We're trying to give them a challenge as well, right? So we're playing the goblins, and we're running around. Like, all I do, I just run around and just pick up weapons and just throw them in different directions and people fall down. And my wife decided to go, we don't really need all of us fighting because they can't really take us all. I'm just going to take my sword and hold it like this, like vertical, like it's a bow, and just pantomime throwing bows. The whole time. And it worked really great. Like, they were constantly dodging these packets. Just now you can't see what's going on, so they think they're doing great, right? They're like, yeah! No one's hitting me! And then all of a sudden, it dawns on their great leader, she doesn't have a bow. She doesn't have a bow. Oh my God, she doesn't have a bow. She doesn't have a bow. You just keep screaming and screaming. Stop, Dookie. She doesn't have a bow. She doesn't have a bow. Just ignore her. She doesn't have a bow. And she's like, 3 normal. As he reacts to the bow again. Oh, he just screams off, stops off. Because he's animated alkali. Doesn't sprain his ankle this time. That's your hero moment.
Oh my God. Yeah, I have a history with goblins. One time they had a pin spell and wrecked my world. Did you have that story?
Yeah.
Up your hats.
All right. I have another hero moment for someone in our audience. Kane.
There you go. Stand up.
Stand up.
Oh, and not to cut you off, Kane
Fine,
here.
don't cut me off. So there.
Kane here actually is one of the owners of Nero Grand Rapids in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I'm actually Black Panther that's in
He's a Black Panther there. Kane and his mate, who's he going by?
What is he going by?
We have like
We have that's the one thing about characters.
Today's fit.
As well as Kaladin himself.
Him and his mate, they own the game, and as I've spoken with them, if anybody has questions and is very curious or wants to make the trip out to Grand Rapids, Michigan, please speak to them. They'll be more than happy to give you information to come and join. And realistically, again, I'm going to cut you off, to join our stories. We would love for you guys to be part of our stories. To say, hey, I remember this time this kid came in and did this thing.
I didn't even pay him to say that either.
So please.
Yeah.
Or if you want, Alkali's not doing anything for the next 2 days. Feel
Right,
free to
at all.
just
got
sit
time to
down
kill.
with Alkali and just have a conversation.
Just so you know, guys, this is the right time after this panel to ask them. Nero Grand Rapids, their season opener. Unless something changes at this point, I plan on being there. So, if you want to play some of these games with me?
I'm pretty
Shameless
sure
plug.
everybody at this table will
If
be there.
we're doing shameless
Hold
plugs,
on. As who was a question? Dr. Bitches, will you be there?
The answer is no, Nick.
Mendeleev.
No.
If he's not there, I'm playing Mendeleev.
Sure.
I will say real quick, since we're doing somewhat shameless plugs, Mutt here also has tail wagger ribbons that we've created, that we have printed out. They will be available
$100 a piece.
$1 a piece,
And we are doing it again.
and the money was going to go to charity. It is going to Fursquared. It is going to charity. We want to share our stories, and we want you guys to be honorary tailwagger members of our happy scavenger, but really we're furries, our happy group here. So afterwards, when we're done, $1 will get you a sticker, a badge tag that will go, the proceeds right to our friend Alkali here to go towards Hans. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike.
So, as we were saying, call it in.
Alright. So, we're playing a chapter where the head of plot uses stilts. And we're fighting a bunch of corrupted trees. And as PCs, what we had to
Was
do
this
is...
Corbin Bobia?
No.
Oh,
Shush.
okay.
Shush. It's dark. Well, yeah, it was still dark right there. So, what we had to do as PCs is we had to get the thing and mix it with the stuff and make a thing. We needed to make a potion to purify the lands of where all these corrupted trees were. And it's like 1 a.m., everything's pitch black out, except the area we have to get to where there's a giant floodlight shooting straight down on the ground in probably a 60, 70 foot radius circle. So it's not it's not on gravel. So it's not going to be easy to get from the darkness to the beacon of light without being seen. And this was supposed to be the big fight of the evening. It was supposed to last like 2 hours. Everything was built up for the whole weekend for it. And we're like, how do we know when it's done? And so the head of plot at the time goes, well, if anyone gets in there, spends a minute without being interacted with by NPCs, then you scream hold and let everyone know that you accomplished the goal. So 3, 2, 1, lay on. We start fighting. Literally 4 minutes in, if that, 4 minutes in, we hear someone scream, hold, at the top of their lungs. And they had a decently sized field of NPCs. And we're like, oh, did someone get hurt? What happened? Why are we holding?
All the PCs were getting...
We were getting destroyed. We were getting destroyed.
I was the only viewer. I did my best.
You were destroyed at the time, I believe. And so the head of plot and all the PCs look over to see why someone called a hold. And there's Cain in all of his glory, literally 4 to 5 minutes into this whole drawn-out fight, just standing in the middle of this giant luminescent circle going, I did the thing.
Please describe his physical description, because they think he's like, they think maybe he's blending in. But he just described, he plays a Black Panther shirt in an all white tee.
He has
Not sneaky, he was.
black face, black tail, whiter than this tablecloth, everywhere else.
Were you an ad for Tide?
It's a tight end.
And everyone was just like, what? I guess we go drink. So I believe that was your first hero moment. Or as I call them, my sweet blankets magic moments.
All right, we have time for one more very quick one. Anyone have a very quick one?
One time I did a thing, it was great.
I can do another quick one that actually did his partner. Go.
Yeah, so it's
No pressure, new guy.
it was the same event at Alliance with the Goblins, and this story is actually kind of part of the reason they were so salty. And so basically, when you're an NPC and you want to go eat lunch, you kind of like double duty it, and like put on some garb, like go entertain some people. You don't necessarily have to go fight, but like you go interact with people like you. And so what we decided to do was that we were going to go in and we were going to be scammers. We were going to be the heroes of the realm who defeated the mighty Kazakh, which was essentially the big bad of that chapter. They literally spent 5 years fighting to defeat it. And so we were coming into town to be like, oh, that was totally us, not knowing like these are the people that just did that. And so we go in, and I was Samson, master of the arcane. He was a farmer who had one celestial spell. And so we go in there, and we start like going in there and like asking for donations to our cause, so that we can arm back up and defeat the next great evil. And they're just giving us like the death players. Because now, see, we thought it would be funny, and they would laugh it off, but they had friends permanently die to this guy, so we might have miscalculated. And people are just getting
Too soon.
it's too soon. And they're just getting furious with us. And I have this guard dog come up to me and he's like, honor duel right now. And I was like, no, thank you. And he's turned away. And they're like, no, honor duel. And like the noble just started coming to me and was like, no, you got to honor duel them right now. And I'm like, I don't know, that's how that works. Like, yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, I'm trying to get one to like, you don't want to, so you honor duel. I was like, okay, sure, I'm gonna go. And so like I get my group together and we're trying to start like discussing our plan and etc. We're sitting out there, and then all of a sudden like our leader goes, "Heroes of the road," and we all strike our heroic poses. And he's like, "Ow!" And we just go. So it's at this point that we're like a full like 60-second sprint down the road, and we realize that we didn't get any to eat. And so. And it's at this point that like they come up and like honor duel right now, and I was like, fine, if I can get to eat, sure, you can kill my NPC. And then so like I square up with the dark elf, and they kind of like square up with their shield, and I got my one celestial spell, and that's the only stat I have. I don't even have like health points because we didn't expect to fight. And so like. They're like, all right, go. And I throw my celestial spell, and it hits them square in the chest. And they don't call it defense. They don't try to dodge it, nothing. They just keep walking directly towards me. And I hit the dirt. Like, my knees on the ground, like, nose in the dirt. Like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't hurt me.
That's all I've got.
I just want to say.
And then the dark elf's like, you're not worth killing. And then just, like, walks off. And I stand up, and I kind of, like, let them get out of earshot. And I look over to the nearest noble, and I'm like, technically, I'm the only one who went with the flow right, so I was.
Guys, this has been Otherworld Stories. I want to thank all my panelists, Ron Collins, Ron, Dr. Vincent. I have Al Ryan in here next to mention more stories, right? Yep. Out. I got it down. I hope to see you at Nero sometime. Enjoy the convention, and if you ever get to play, enjoy the game. Thank you very much.
Don't forget to see Mutt for your tag if you want it.
$1 for a tag. We'll be happy to take it, give you a tag, and again, all the proceeds go to the charity for Fursquared.
1 for 1 or 2 for 3 is the deal, guys.